Okay, guys, so it looks like the co-owner of Manchester United Football Club has just given mass immigration the red card. Hi there, welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. Yes, you may have seen the coverage from RTE by now about this man, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is the co-owner of Manchester United Football Club. He's a billionaire and he's just about had enough of mass immigration. So the working class have had enough and now the billionaires have had enough. And he has just started or opened a can of worms that now it is made acceptable on mainstream media in the UK to discuss mass immigration. That is something that we have not had the privilege of here in Ireland because RTE and our politicians will never, ever, ever, ever let us discuss it. Let two opposing sides have a debate on the television. They just won't do it. So we are left with watching what's going on in the UK. Now you have Sir Jim Ratcliffe, as I said, who was on Sky News and he was asked about the state of the UK. He spoke about Keir Starmer and he said how weak he was, as we all know. And he said the UK is in need of someone very, very strong right now to take the reins and to put a stop to the chaos that's happening. And we have not escaped the chaos here in Ireland. We know Newtown, Mount Kennedy and Coolock and Ruski and Roscrea and all Dundrum Village. We know, we've heard it all, we've seen it all. The chaos mass immigration has caused in this country. City West, the stabbing of children outside their school, the rape of a 10-year-old child. We know ourselves, we have not escaped, and the UK certainly have not escaped the disasters that the UK have had as well. So finally, it has gone mainstream. Finally, it's not just random people on X talking about mass immigration. It is the co-owner of Manchester United Football Club. I'm going to play it for you now to see what you think, and I will discuss it afterwards.
If you really want to deal with the major issues of immigration, with people opting to take benefits rather than working for a living, if you want to deal with that, then you're going to have to do some things which are unpopular and show some courage.
And has this government done that?
No, I think they I don't know whether it's just the apparatus that hasn't allowed Keir to do it, or he's maybe too nice. He's a nice. I mean, I know Keir. He's a nice man. I like him, but it's a tough job, and I think you have to do some difficult things with the UK to get it back on track. Because at the moment, I don't think the economy is in a good. You can't afford. You can't have an economy with 9 million people on benefits, and huge levels of immigrants coming in. I mean, the UK is being colonised. It's costing too much money. It will cause. It'll cause. Well, the UK is being colonised by immigrants, really, isn't it? I mean, the population of the UK was 58 million in 2020. Now it's 70 million. That's 12 million people.
You met recently with Nigel Farage, didn't you?
I did.
Do you think that they would be a good government if they were to win the next election?
I think Nigel is an intelligent man, and I think he's got good intentions, but in a way you could say exactly the same about Keir when Keir came in. But, I think it needs somebody who's prepared to be unpopular for a period of time to get the big issues sorted out, would be my view.
Okay, there you go. What do you think? Is he right? I think he's right. He speaks of the 9 million people on benefits. 9 million people not working, on benefits, hanging around all day with nothing to do. And the UK taxpayer going to work, breaking his back, blood, sweat and tears, breaking her back as well, blood, sweat and tears, to pay for these people. We know here in Ireland, I always say it, the iPass centres, the luxury apartments, the food, the accommodation, the bills, the trainers, the shoes, the clothing, the driving lessons, and cherry on the cake, they can work. After a few weeks, they can work and pay no contribution. So this is where we are. This is the type of thing this man is talking about. Who is paying these bills? Who is allowing this? Who is organizing it? It has to be spoken about. And now he has opened the can of worms, because now it is being discussed on the mainstream, and the mainstream media and the politicians have nowhere to hide now. They must discuss it. And of course, they're calling him every name under the sun. They're calling for speaking the truth. They're calling him racist, and they're calling him all the names under the sun, which everybody gets called once you bring up the word immigration, which is crazy. They expect people to put up with mass immigration, with the housing crisis, and with all the issues that come with that. And they expect you to stay silent. Well, now there is silence no more, because this man has opened that can of worms, and it was discussed last night. That's how fast it was discussed. It was discussed last night on BBC Newsnight programme, and I just made a comment on X as to when will RTE give us the same? When will RTE allow somebody to debate an open borders fanatic on TV? I'll play you the BBC Newsnight show. It's very interesting as well. It starts off, you might think that this man is on the side of open borders, but keep listening and you hear what he says.
Well, I think Radcliffe, if I can be honest, is quite an obnoxious character. I don't like the fact he's got a very inspirational backstory, working class background in the north of England, and he talked about himself as a great patriot and wrapped himself in the Union Jack. And then, having benefited from this country, been educated in this country, when they had the opportunity to offshore his tax liability, he saved, I think, $4 billion by going to Monaco. And I think that's deeply hypocritical. On immigration, I don't like the language. I think that's unfortunate. We've not been colonised in any meaningful sense. But where I agree with the thrust of what he's saying, it's not so much for me about economics, but democracy. People did not vote for this size of influx into the country. The Conservatives consistently said they would cut immigration to the tens of thousands. It spiked to levels that are completely unprecedented in the history of this country. It's had very dramatic impacts on people's access to housing, pressure on infrastructure. That, I think, goes to the heart of the collapse in trust in British politics. There's other dimensions to it, but I think that is fundamental.
Not just that it spiked, but every time there was a general election from 2010 onwards, 2015, 2017, 2019, the Conservatives promised to bring legal migration.
And I went back and read the manifestos, and it was just serially broken.
Yeah.
And to be honest, New Labour broke their promises.
So there you go. He says, I don't know who he is, by the way, that man, but he spoke very well. He says that nobody voted for this. Nobody voted for this chaos. As we know, the UN have it all documented. The UN say because of abortion, because of falling birth rates in Europe, we have a thing called replacement migration. It is a fact, and it's not a conspiracy theory. It is an actual document, and I've gone through it before on this podcast, replacement migration. So it is a policy. And these people are being encouraged. Do we really think that all these towns and villages from all over the world just got up one day and decided to come to the West? They are being encouraged mainly by the NGOs who are paid by the global elite, including the UN. The EU are just absolutely useless. The EU have come up with the EU Migration Pact to try and solve it here in Ireland. And we know, I've gone through it before, it's going to make it worse. It's going to make it worse. And all you need to do is take a few minutes to study the EU Migration Pact, because it's going to make it worse. And the people we have sent over as our MEPs are going to be zero help to us. They are going to be zero help. In fact, I will play you a clip of Maria Walsh, MEP now, talking about the Seamus Colleton case, who is an Irish man who went to America in 2009 on the usual 90-day visa, the holiday visa. Never came home. And he never came home. And that was 2009. We are now 2026. And Trump has ordered ICE to take to round up the illegal immigrants. But this man has been given, I read the article yesterday, he has been given a deportation order, which is like a self-deportation. And he's been offered money and a ticket home. And he's refusing to take it. He's chosen to stay in the facility. And he's also chosen to come out on RTE and beg the leaders here to do something for him. But, you know, we have Simon Harris and Micheál Martin coming out a couple of months ago saying what we have all been saying, that immigration is too high. And we have the impression the ordinary person on the street who's not paying too much attention but knows something is up, and the ordinary voter knows something is up. And when they see these headlines and they see Micheál Martin and Simon Harris saying that they will tackle immigration, yes, it's too high, we are listening to the people, and we're going to do our best, and blah, blah, blah. We have tendered aeroplanes for deportations. When they see this, when the ordinary person hears and sees these interviews with our leaders, they will obviously think, great, it's getting sorted. But then you see the likes of the Fine Gael MEP, and it's not just Fine Gael, by the way, the whole lot of them, Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin, the whole lot of our MEPs the other day actually either abstained or voted no to measures that would curb immigration. And that's not something that was RTE headline news. They either abstained or voted no to EU measures that would curb immigration and would reduce it. That's absolutely shocking. And I will give you an example of one MEP. We have Maria Walsh yesterday talking about the Seamus Colleton case. But just listen very, very carefully to her words and then ask yourself, does that sound like a party who is willing to control our borders here and sort out immigration? Play you her.
We often say things happen so slowly in politics. I mean, President Trump has thrown out that rule book. Things are happening at a speed we've never seen before. And this Irish belief system that we are protected is no longer, and I think Seamus is an example of that, as well as many Irish. And I think that's the message we need to bring, our ministers need to bring for Paddy's Day. If Seamus Colleton is not returned to his family by then, and the other Irish who are detained, or Irish expats who are detained, even any person who's detained. I mean, ICE is not just targeting one type of person now. They're targeting all, and you don't have to go too far down the rabbit hole to say the fundamental rights and freedoms of people in this world are experiencing something that we only read in the history books when Adolf Hitler was in charge in Germany, and it's terrifying that you see that play out in 2026. So a very clear message of this international law breakage, this relationship with folks and culture in a country who has built America. And I think the Irish in that, we need to be very, very strong in our language in the White House.
So there you go. She talks of global, she talks of the people of the world. She does not have any indication there that her party and her party leader, Simon Harris, have any intention to curb immigration. And now the UK are having a chance at a proper debate because it has gone mainstream. I think some other millionaires and billionaires are coming out in support of this Jim Ratcliffe. And if you just look on X, if X is any metric to go by, when Keir Starmer put up, he said that this man should apologise. He said that yesterday. He got absolutely ratioed. I mean, abysmal. You can count them on your hands, the amount of likes he got as opposed to the views. So the amount of people who saw his post and who liked it was abysmal. And he's absolutely wrong. Wrong to ask this man to apologise. People are wrong to call this man names. You have NGOs specifically set up, as we do here, whose only purpose is to find racism. And by this man coming out and saying that immigration is chaotic and immigration with 9 million people on welfare benefits is not sustainable and has to end, and somebody strong needs to come on stream and be the leader, that is not racism. That is just the way every single person feels and thinks, and that's the way the leaders are giving the impression on news interviews as well. So they give the impression that they agree with the people. Of course, Yes, the numbers are too high and we're going to sort it out. But they never do. As we heard Maria Walsh's words there, they have no intention, zero intention of sorting it out. They just bought City West Hotel, and we know the horror that had just happened there to that poor 10-year-old girl. But the government have just purchased that. They have just built luxury apartments in my hometown here, 5 blocks of them. They have no intention of sorting immigration. And that's all I want to say. I wanted to bring you that story of the co-owner of Manchester United who has just about had enough. He has just about had enough now. He's a billionaire, by the way. He didn't need to say a word. He can go anywhere in the world and live anywhere. But he's someone who cares. And now it's gone mainstream. It has gone mainstream, and now everybody can talk about it. Everybody. And it is not racism. And really and truly, the whole of the West needs an absolute educational training course on what exactly is racism. Because just look up what racism is, because I'm beginning to think that people are so dumbed down and so brainwashed right now that they think mentioning mass immigration, which causes chaos, is racism. That is abysmal. And if you think that that is racism, you need to go back to school. And that's all I want to say, guys. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for joining me. Set up an account on X. I'm telling you, you should see the commentary over this one story right now. It's absolutely fantastic. People are talking. People have got confidence. And that is all that was ever needed. But as I say, we're waiting for that here. RTE, all eyes over to you. Politicians in Ireland, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin, all eyes on ye. All eyes on ye. Because it's mainstream now. And TikTok, we're waiting. Take care, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done. Share the info in the video. Share it to your family and friends. Tell them about the channel. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me. Take care.